Dear all, Autism Learning Materials Supermarket is an autism community project implemented by NBAI, AI for Autism, Job for Autism, and Mr. Lay Duong Lam to provide authentic and updated 24/7 documents thanks to artificial intelligence for parents with children with autism and related disorders, specialized teachers, inclusive teachers, and therapists. Today, we would like to introduce video N0.89 to pass to connection.
You know, every parent wants that deep connection with their child, right? To understand their world and to share ours with them. But when a child is nonverbal, finding that connection, well, it can feel like you're searching for a path in the dark. Today, we're going to light up two of those paths.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you actually build that bridge for communication when words just aren't there yet? It turns out the answer might not just be about teaching words, but about creating the right conditions for learning to happen in the first place. And this is especially true during a really special, really critical time in a child's development. Researchers have a name for this period from birth to about age 3. They call it the golden window. And what that means is that during these years, a child's brain is just incredibly flexible, or plastic. It's totally primed to build new connections, which makes this the absolute most effective time for any kind of intervention to have a really deep and lasting impact. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We'll start by digging a little deeper into that golden window. Then we're going to explore two very different paths. Path 1 is what we're calling the musical bridge. That's all about the environment. Path 2 is the structured steps, which is a direct way to teach interaction. And then, the best part, we'll see how you can put them together and make them work for your child.
So first up, let's talk about this crucial foundation, the golden window. It really is all about why getting started early is such a game changer.
I mean, this chart really says it all, doesn't it? Just look at how high that bar is for ages 0 to 3. The brain's ability to adapt, to learn, to literally rewire itself is at its absolute peak. Any support you provide during this time isn't just helpful. It can fundamentally shape the brain's architecture, making it so much easier to build those social and language skills down the road.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's explore our first path. We're calling it the musical bridge. Now, this approach, it comes from a lot of research into music therapy, and it isn't really about actively teaching speech at all. It's about creating the perfect therapeutic environment where communication can just start to blossom all on its own.
So the core idea here is pretty simple. For a lot of kids, especially those on the autism spectrum, the world can feel, well, really chaotic. It's a lot of sensory input, but the structured, predictable patterns you find in nonverbal classical music, they can act like a kind of safe framework. It helps dial down that sensory overload, it calms the nervous system, and it gets the child into an optimal state where they're actually receptive and ready to interact.
And this works in two really powerful ways. First, you have passive listening. Think of this as setting the stage, just having the music in the background to create a calm state. Then, you build on that with active listening. This is where you might encourage a little movement, or making sounds, or playing along with the music, turning it into a fun, shared experience.
But where do you even start? What do you play? Well, research points to some specific composers. Mozart, for example, has these really clear, engaging melodies. Bach is great for those structured, predictable patterns that help organize the brain. And then you have composers like Debussy or Satie, who are just fantastic for creating a gentle, calming vibe, especially during quiet time or before bed. And you can see here, the benefits really go way beyond just speech. When you create this kind of musical environment, you're supporting development across the board. We're talking emotional regulation, focus, motor skills, social interaction. It's a truly whole-person approach.
All right, let's completely switch gears and explore a second path. This one is much more direct. It's sourced from a speech therapy practitioner, and the focus is less on the environment and way more on teaching the specific mechanics of interaction, one little step at a time.
So this path starts with something called learning to learn skills. And the idea is just so logical. Before a child can learn from you, they need to be ready to learn. Can they sit with you for a couple of minutes? Can they wait for something they want instead of just grabbing it? These foundational skills are the absolute essential first step before any formal teaching is really going to stick.
And this perspective is absolutely laser-focused on one thing. As the source material puts it, while things like play skills are great, they can be a detour. The most direct route to language from this point of view is getting to verbal imitation, the ability to copy sounds, and then, eventually, words.
So here's how you actually build that skill. It's a really clear progression. You start with something simple, like an open palm gesture to teach waiting. From there, you move to imitating basic body actions. Then you copy mouth shapes, and finally, you start imitating simple sounds. You see, each step is a building block, getting closer and closer to that ultimate goal.
Okay, so we've got two very different paths here. One is all about a soothing environment, the other is a super-structured teaching method. How on earth can they fit together? Well, this is where it gets really powerful.
When you put them side by side, you see they actually serve two different but totally complementary functions. The musical bridge is all about getting the child's state right. It creates that calm, regulated mindset that's needed for learning. The structured steps then provide the lesson plan, the clear, direct interaction that builds the skill of imitation. And this brings us right to the key takeaway. You use Path 1 to create the ideal conditions for Path 2. Just imagine it. You use some calming music to help your child settle in, to get focused and regulated. And then, inside that calm space, that's when you introduce the structured activities to teach imitation. The environment makes the interaction possible. Now, for the most important part of this whole thing, these paths, they're not rigid prescriptions, they're tools. And the person who is best equipped to use them is you. It all comes down to becoming an expert observer of your own child.
Your job, really, is to build a personalized toolkit. Watch how your child responds. Maybe they relax with Bach but get a little agitated by Vivaldi. Maybe they need 5 minutes of quiet music before they're ready for a structured game. You adapt these tools, you mix and match, because you are their most important partner on this journey. And remember, the goal isn't perfect execution, it's connection.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. What if the most profound first step on this path to communication isn't actually about teaching your child to speak, but about you learning a new way to listen? Listening to the music that calms them, listening to their unique cues. That's how you build that bridge, together.
Autism Learning Materials Supermarket would like to thank parents, teachers, and interventionists. Please disseminate to relevant people in the autism community so that more and more people can access this authentic and scientific learning resource. To raise awareness in the community, please subscribe to watch the next videos. For any questions, please contact